Simon, I know you don't like the search for a new manager for any club being played out in public, but the search for the new manager of Rangers is being played out in public.
Yeah, seems to be. I mean, that's their choice for whatever reason they seem to want to conduct it. I mean, obviously you can't legislate for what other people do and don't say, but if I wanted to interview Martin O'Neill for a job, and the condition of me talking to Martin O'Neill, if he wanted the job, was that neither one of us talks about this in the media, that process could have been controlled. You announced the Thomas Tuchel as England manager, no one knew it was coming. So it can be done if you want it to. So for some reason or other, it seems to be being played out in the public domain. And this might show you some of the reasons why Rangers aren't at this moment in time performing at the level that Rangers should be performing at, because we've seen the decisions made in the summer with Russell Martin. We've seen the fact that it would appear to be the decisions that have been made by the chief executive and also the sporting director. You know my views on the sporting director, and I think you have my views on the chief executive. So with that in mind, you've now got the owners in the room. The owners can't sell it either. So you're in this situation where, who's running the football club and how is it being run properly? If you wanted Kevin Muscat and you knew that Kevin Muscat was saying to you from the outset, I'm not going to join until this job is done, then what is the point of the conversation? And Gerrard was always, whatever way we dress it up, I don't believe that the Gerrard situation was just about the sporting director. By the way, Kevin Muscat is managing a Tuppenny Halfpenny club in the back end of nowhere. So really and truly, the player recruitment side of things would have been a bonus to him to have actually had some player recruitment of a substantial level. So that being thrown into the mix is a silly conversation. But Gerrard going into a room and not being able to come out, I would still imagine, was about the tax implications of the ramifications of his decision to be in Saudi and the money he gets from there. And Rangers must have known that.
Martin, who do you believe in all of this? Regards Muscat, Rangers say it was the timing. Muscat says it was about the way you recruit people and players.
Well, as Simon said,
anyway, it's not coming.
This has been played out in public when it really shouldn't be. They'd known the situation with Muscat, and while Simon says it was a two-bit outfit that he is running and a two-bit competition, I suppose you probably think for your CV you maybe want to stay to the end to do it, if that's the case. But that if Muscat made that clear in the first sentence, then end of story. Rangers will say, well, listen, if you don't want to come to Rangers now and you want to still stay out there and see it through, well, then we'll leave it. We'll leave it. And obviously that's what's happened. But this idea, the recruitment, I don't know who has recruited the players there. I don't know. But if the director of football is responsible for recruitment, it's been really poor.
It's been really poor. Because no matter who they end up with, Simon,
really poor.
You're maybe not third choice, you might be fourth choice.
But some players coming, Rangers are a great football club, but some of the players there are just undeserving of playing for Rangers. Seriously, undeserving of it, and should never have been there in the first place.
I mean, I've talked about the people in there, whether it's Greta Steinson, who's a so-called de facto advisor for the 49ers that seems to be making lots of decisions, or Kevin Thurwell, and the backdrop of what everyone that seems to have worked with him. I mean, Deitch didn't want to work with him, did he? So there's a constant theme about the sporting director that I don't think people think much of him. I don't. And it's being echoed by those that appear to either being in the potential of working with him or worked with him previously. Yeah. So that then goes to the ownership model. And I always made a case that the 49ers would know what they were doing. The ownership would know what they're doing. Not just because I wanted it to be the case because they're owners, but because they've got experience. They own a very big club in Leeds United. Leeds United are a huge football club and come with similar pressures as Rangers do, scale and size. World-recognised football clubs with big histories. Maybe Rangers a slightly bigger football club because of the scale of their successes in Scotland, but certainly Leeds United were a huge football club with a huge fan base. So I expected them to be able to translate. It appears to me they don't at this moment in time. It appears to me from the chief executive who keeps on getting badged as the chief executive of Man United, which he wasn't. He was an interim guy that stepped into that position. To the sporting director, to the appointment of Russell Martin, to this situation. Where is this best in class?
I mean, what exactly, Simon? What are we witnessing here, Martin? When I think of Rangers years ago, Souness, in he came, revolutionised the Scottish game and the football club itself. Dick Advocat, in he game, the rest was history. What they do, if Danny Rohl is back in, he's back in after counting himself out. Yeah,
I know. It's so ridiculous, really. Rangers have been in the decline now for quite some considerable time, and look as if they've no way of getting out of it. You know, really, it seems. I think that the message that has been missed at Rangers for quite some considerable time is you got to win. you got. I know I always come back to this, and it seems to be my out. But you know this. You know this as a manager. You know this as a director of football. You know whatever. If you are responsible players, get players in who think they can win football matches for you for a start. Not people who.
Be interested to see what Dave King thinks, because when we spoke, and I'm not necessarily suggesting that he should be given a platform to say what he thinks. What I'm saying is he talked about the attitude of the existing board and investor fatigue and a new ownership model coming in. Now these guys came in. These guys, again, I make the point. I'm labouring the point. Should know what they're doing. And this should be a better version of Rangers. Whatever's gone in the last 10 or 11, 12 years, and the reasons why it's gone this way, if you've got new ownership that's got plenty of money, that's well equipped to understand sporting franchises in their minds, why are they operating in this way?
We are now hearing, in view of the fact that Kevin Muscat no longer a contender for the vacant manager's position following the sacking of Russell Martin, we now hear here at talkSPORT that Danny Rohl is indeed set to be appointed as the next manager of Rangers. 36-year-old German from Zwickau, which is the old East Germany, but it's all one Germany in modern times. The former assistant at Leipzig, at Southampton, at Bayern Munich, Danny Rohl set to be appointed. So Simon, Messrs Patrick Stewart and the rest have taken somewhat a circuitous route here. I mean, it's up to them to interview who they want, having said that. But Gerrard's come and gone.
Of course.
Muscat's come and gone.
I don't think anyone's criticising them for interviewing people. I think people are pining on the fact that it seems to have found its way into the media for every twist and turn.
Yeah.
Which you'd like to think that you wouldn't want to have happen, and seemingly they wanted to. Now, I've heard very good things about this manager. You know, I spoke to Josh Windass about him when he was playing for him at Sheffield Wednesday. He really liked him. I think Barry Bannon spoke very highly of him. I think he did a good job there. He's got... You know, he's worked with some very good managers. Whatever you think of Hansi Flick, he's one of the top managers around. Whether you think he was successful as a German national coach is a different matter. And so, my immediate reaction would be, I would imagine there'll be a degree of ambivalence from the Rangers fans. Because
I'll go stronger, man. I don't think many of them will have that. I mean, they were, many of them, as far as I was gathering, were looking to Gerrard to come back in for a second spell. That didn't happen. And then maybe there was a spring in their step when they heard about Muscat to a degree.
Yeah, Muscat having played for them as well too. Yeah, but I'm not so sure. I think that when Russell Martin was appointed, I think his style of play followed him in that sense up to Ibrox, and then perhaps the Ibrox fans were looking, listen, we must be winning at all costs, so that probably didn't go down all that brilliantly. However, I think they'll know much less about Danny Rohl and maybe prepared to give him a chance. They'll certainly know he's only had the one managerial job at Sheffield Wednesday. He has been an assistant, but overall...
You're right. His main body of work, Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Led them to 12.
And because they know less about him, in that sense, they might be prepared to say, yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, you look at the fact that in recent times they put a championship manager in there, in Michael Beale. That didn't work out well. And so it looks like a uninspiring decision for the fans. Now, that because they don't know Danny Rohl and they haven't seen much of him. And so I'm assuming this time round they will have done their proper research into what they're getting, why they're getting it, and what they think they're going to achieve. But all I can say is the players that I know that have played for him thought very highly of him. You know, they responded to him very well, and there wasn't a lot for him to work with Sheffield Wednesday. He had to work with the backdrop of a very difficult football club and a difficult owner in a difficult time, didn't he?
Yeah. Martin, Danny Rohl, as we say here at talkSPORT, it's our understanding that he's set to be appointed now that Muscat is no longer in the race. What does Danny Rohl need to know about what he's getting into?
Oh, I think first of all, he would be a fool if he hadn't any preconceived notion about what he's going into. He knows he'll have to win football matches there, and I don't think that you have to be born and bred in Glasgow to know that you have to win football matches at the club. So that's it, really, as much as anything else. He'll go in. I'm not so sure what his philosophy is. That's nice to hear what Simon was saying, that the players who have played under him at Sheffield Wednesday think a lot of him. That's good to hear that.
Yeah.
But overall, he's got to change. He's just got to change a losing mentality at Rangers.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you were quite strong, Martin, earlier on, saying that there's a sizable number of Rangers players at the moment. Who at the moment really don't fit the jersey.
Not at all. They're not good enough to play for football for the football club.
Yeah.
It is still a really great football club. It is a great football club, and these players are just not up to it.
Interesting you say that.
Here's a point.
Go on.
Some of the players that might have come in might not know about the history of the club, might not know about what it is to win it up in Glasgow. But after a couple of weeks there, you soon find out. It's not. You don't have to go through a year of losing football matches to know what it's like. And all you have to do is listen to the reaction of the crowd when you go behind at Ibrox to know all these things. Listen, we all experience these things.
What you're saying was reflected in Jack Butland, the goalkeeper's post-match comments at the weekend when Rangers ended up at Ibrox drawing with Dundee United.
A story that we've seen a lot, and a feeling that we've felt a lot. So yeah, angry. It's obviously demoralising for everybody when you put in a first half like that where you see some real people sort of express themselves and okay, we only scored one, we should score more, but a good performance, solid going forward. There was some exciting stuff going on. So to go from that to what happened between 1-0 and 2-1 down is honestly, I would love to know exactly what goes through half the lads' heads at times, or us as a team, what goes through, how do we get ourselves in that position. But it's a story of the season, really. And what happened between 1-0 up and obviously going 2-1 down is nowhere near good enough, especially after putting in a first half performance like that.
I felt that he wanted to go even stronger than that, Mark, and maybe pull back.
He went strong enough. He did, absolutely. I'm glad he's divorcing himself from proceedings that's taking place, That's players for you. No question about it. Blame someone else, in the dressing room, sit and have a go at somebody else when in actual fact you've been not that good yourself. But I don't know whether he's not been that good in that particular game.
Right.
But all I'm saying is that
the
general review is what's going through players' heads. Yeah, well, do you know what? Why didn't you find out? Why didn't you go for a cup of coffee with them just after a training session and go and find out what's in their heads? See if they are capable of playing for the football club. See when they go a goal behind in a game that they have got the capabilities to pull it back. See if they are capable of going away from home up at Ross County or somewhere like this here and finding themselves in the mire and then pulling it round. Let's see what they can do. Let's see it. And that, when they're able to sort those things out, then they can call themselves Rangers players.
Wow, Martin, in the mood this morning. So the wheel's very much in motion, we hear. Danny Rohl set to be announced at Rangers.